All right, everybody. Welcome back to Comics Only, the only podcast where comedians talk about comedy with other comedians. My guest today is comedian, writer, and videographer Jeffrey Morel. How you doing, dude?
Doing well.
There you go.
Gotcha.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I should have said something. These mics don't have like the best pickup. Like they're really clean and they have good like pop filters and shit, but they like kind of drastically drop off if you don't keep your mouth kind of close.
Yeah.
So just imagine it's a dick.
Yeah.
And we'll be fine, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, for sure.
Gay jokes are fine on this podcast, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I love racial jokes. I did a Desmond on Wednesday.
How was it?
It was good, but it was like a group of like 8 or 9 black people came in.
Okay.
And I don't know. I said like, you ever have someone, you do your set and people just look at you and they're not even like laughing. They're just like shocked, like you're just screaming egregious racial slurs the whole time.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing. They were just like, I made an AIDS joke and like, oh my gosh, what up was with this guy? And I was just like, yeah, it just caught me off guard. Then I did my set and they all walked out like right afterwards. And then Jacob Connor went up and I was like, hey, got the room warm for you. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, Jacob. That's funny. Yeah, I've been opening with so like my name's Eric, and like oftentimes when you tell people that they're like, is that with a C or a K? So I've been opening with my name's Eric with 3 Ks. And I always get a little bit like scared to do it when there's like a bunch of black people in the room. I'm like, they're gonna know I'm joking. It's gonna be fine.
I think
but I get a little bit like
I think I was working on CapCut. Do you know that? Like the editing thing? It's like, it's free.
Okay.
It's like, they partner with TikTok. They're really cool. But I put in like KKK and they wouldn't automate that text.
Yeah. There's some weird stuff going on with that. There's this picture of me from when I was little. I'm dressed as a bat. And my mom drew on my face with a black marker to make me look like a bat. But I have like little bat ears. I'm dressed as a bat.
Oh,
okay.
I thought baseball bat. For
No. Like a bat, like a flying bat.
Yeah.
And so she painted my face black, and I have like little bat ears. And I tried to post the picture on Instagram and say that I'm in bat face, like ha ha ha. And it just wouldn't post the picture. I was like, hey man, what the fuck? There must be some sort of like blackface detector on this thing.
I love the idea. It's just like, I did blackface every year with my mom. And now Facebook wants to take that away from me.
No, one year I was Cyclops. I think we only drew on my face with black marker one time.
Yeah. I think in my neighborhood, the people were getting so annoyed because nobody was dressing up for Halloween anymore. People would just wear hoodies and just ask for bags of candy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if that's how it was.
Sounds like you lived in the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm not sure if you...
Or the suburbs, either way.
I lived in Alaska, so I feel like I
Really?
just... Yeah.
You and Fred, huh? Do you know Fred Rigg?
Yeah. He actually went to just like a neighboring high school. It's like very intimate. Like,
Did you know... You didn't know Fred, like, before he got here, though?
No.
It's not that small.
It's just kind of like friend circles. Like he knew people I knew, but he is just another random white guy in Alaska with a Subaru. So
Right, yeah, sure. There's a
I
bunch.
assume that's like a granola.
Do you know Zach? God, what's his name? Zach from Montana.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? What's his name? What's his last name?
Zach Allen?
Yes, thank you. God, I should remember that. It doesn't matter. Fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. So Zach's super funny, and he does this bit where he's talking about being from Montana, and like I've seen multiple times, like if somebody cheers, they'll be like, "Oh, are you from Montana?" And they're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you know so and so?" And one time the person was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, hell yeah." And I was talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, I get him every now and then." Like,
There's a time
I was like, "How small is this fucking state?"
No, my brother, he's brown skin. And then came to a time someone asked me, like, do you know Josh? I was like, that's my brother. So yeah, I mean, it happens. I feel like you're always, it's too small. It's, you just know everyone's sexual history, and that's not really fun. Like, you go on a date and they're like, oh yeah, she gave head to Jerry. And she's like, I didn't really want to know that.
Yeah. Years ago, I was living in Washington and I was doing like medical marijuana stuff. It was like growing and making hash oil and all kinds of like, like, I don't know, dumb shit, whatever you want to call it, just weed stuff. Yeah. And I knew this guy from Alaska, and like he was a grower, and he was telling me this story about like, when he was like getting ready to leave, he had holes in his shoes, and he was like, I'm not buying new shoes until I get like to the mainland. Like,
So do you walk or
no, yeah, right. But he said like the first thing he had to buy when he got here was shoes because he was like scared to spend his money on new shoes. He was like, it was like he like prioritized getting out of Alaska to that extent.
I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't sound that serious. Like,
Yeah, I know. He's a kind of a rough dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in general.
And he came from Alaska?
Yeah, I think he grew up there and didn't like it. He grew up like super poor in Alaska.
I feel like it's just so different because, well, you're from Oregon. It's kind of like, do you guys have like, you guys call it bush area? Where you just kind of like just people just like live in the mountains basically?
Yeah, I think there are. It's more common now.
Really?
Like, it wasn't common back in the day, I don't think.
Do you think people just didn't know, or it's just people just like, I just want to get away from all this?
Yeah. I don't really know. It's not common where I'm from that people just like live out in the woods. Not at all. Is that common in Alaska?
Yeah, I mean,
That's so crazy.
well, there's villages that are just probably like smaller than the size of a mall.
Yeah.
And then, for example, they can't, all they do is just go four-wheeling, then they go snowmobiling, and then they just, there's no alcohol allowed in the sector.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, no, they're around nothing. I just don't.
Yeah. When did you move to Phoenix?
Like right before COVID, like on accident.
When did you start comedy? Did you start in Alaska?
No, I started,
yeah.
It's hard. I tried going to like an improv thing in Alaska, but I didn't know the address was for New York. So I just drove to like an abandoned building to do improv that wasn't there. But no, I started at Stir Crazy. I think it was 2020.
You're one of those motherfuckers.
What are you going to do during like a pandemic? Just
Yeah, for sure. Your first set was at Stir Crazy?
Yeah, it was at the...
That's such a good experience for people.
It was...
if they can, like, handle how bad comedy is at other places. Sometimes people go up at Stir Crazy and they're like, oh, is this what comedy's like? You're like, no, not really. Sometimes, but not, like, always.
Yeah, I do say it's nice. Even nowadays, you know Benjamin Vince?
Yeah.
Like, I've been going to all my...
I love
mics.
Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, no, great. Bald guy.
Shout out.
But he's been, I've been going to do all my mics just with him lately. We go together. And I think just starting comedy in a little community helps so much.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's like been actually something I'm kind of struggling with recently. I started in Eugene, Oregon, which was like a really small community. And I grew to be like really close with like a core group of comics. And then it's just been hard being away from them and feeling like Phoenix is such a big scene. It's hard to like, there is a sense of community, but it's not that strong compared to like a lot of other places. Like, cause it's over such a wide spread area. What the Phoenix scene feels like more to me is very cliquish, where there's like the east side people and the west side people.
There's definitely, I'm big on the west side. Like, I think, like, I mean,
me too, because I hate being in the fucking car for 45 minutes in 110 degree weather. It's just not tenable, dude. Like,
because I think Delgado has a Mike and Mesa.
Yeah, I've never been. I love Matt. I haven't seen Matt, dude. Matt's one of my favorite people in the Phoenix comedy scene. I haven't seen him probably in 4 months, dude.
No, that's what I was saying, because I was like, because I know he doesn't have a car, but like I think he just goes to the east side mics, because I've been going to like a bunch of mics on the west side in downtown.
Me too.
But it's just, I'm not sure if there's a bunch of mics on the east side.
I'm going to start going to east side more again once it cools off a little bit. It's just, I can't do both the hot weather and the long drives. One or the other. Fuck you on both. It's insane, dude.
Did you come here for the comedy scene, or was it just...
Kind of. I was looking for somewhere to go in general. What really happened was my uncle works for Nordstrom, and they hire people to do like seasonal work for like Christmas and shit. And I asked him if I could do that, and I just wanted to come here for a few weeks and make a little money. And he was like, I can't hire you because that's nepotism. And then my aunt was like, well, my job doesn't have that rule. I could like hire you. And I was like kind of looking for a job anyways. And then I get to live with my grandma for free, and she kind of needs me around. Like, it's nice for her to have me around anyways. So between all those things, it was just kind of like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. And it's good comedy-wise. Like, there's a lot of clubs.
No, yeah, this is definitely... I was talking about some comics with because there's certain, I don't like to say like it's shit talking, just certain questions about like certain comics, like, oh, they're at this point in the scene and like, you know, it kind of seems like they've plateaued. Like Respectful, I was like, what is next? Or is it just, you know, just being a comic? Like,
yeah, it's very interesting. So I just heard somebody the other day. I was in Denver, and I was talking to a comic who had lived in Portland, and now lived in Denver. So we knew a bunch of the same people because Eugene and Portland are super close, and I was in Portland like all the time. So we were talking about that, and what he said was like, Portland is a 3-year city. It's like after 3 years, you're really not getting much out of it. And I thought that was like an interesting perspective. And I think Phoenix is probably a 5-year city.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like we're because
there's more opportunities. You're closer to shit like LA, Austin. So it's kind of not the worst place to be based. The cost of living's not insane compared to like other places.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about like after like 2 years, because I kind of want to leave Arizona. I just tired of it. Also, it's kind of like I kind of found.
Oh yeah, where do you want to go?
I was thinking Vegas, to be honest.
Oh, what? Isn't that just the same thing?
I don't know. I went there. You know Ray Earl.
Yeah.
So like my friend was like running
I
a
love
marathon,
Ray. Yeah.
and then me and my girlfriend I literally just went to like 4 or 5 open mics with Ray on like one night, and then we went to the Dirty at 12:30. He fell asleep there. He just wanted to be seen there. Like I like the hustle part of it, but
that's so funny.
But I just like everything was kind of more close knit. It was cooler. Yeah. But the main thing is now I have like a few friends. I have like a sketch group called the Stuff Makers. And it's just like I don't want to leave that group, and it's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. You just like anything, you just kind of get attachments.
Dude, Denver was dope. Denver was dope as hell. They had a bar there that's owned by a comic, and so like people would just hang out there all the time. We went one night, and they had like 2 different shows. They had a panel like style comedy show, and then a roast battle afterwards. It was like the fact that a bar would let them put on 2 comedy shows in one night. And you're like, oh, this is like fucking pretty cool.
Is Denver? Because when I think of Denver, I don't think like maybe it's different. There's like a club scene, but I don't think like an open mic scene.
No, there is. There's a strong mic scene too, I think. Denver in general has a strong comedy scene. I've heard that for a while. I know Comedy Works is a super popular club. Sam Talent came up in Denver.
Is that like one of the next places you think about sometimes?
I don't know. Not really, because there's just so much keeping me here. I don't even really think about moving right now. I think probably if my dreams go as I hope they do, or whatever. If my current plan works out, which who knows, because like the next step is like 5 years away. But my next move would be to New York.
Really?
Yeah.
I always think about the necessity. Of course, it's a great move. But like, I don't know. Since we're like so located here, like we're middle located. You know, we have like Vegas, and you have like LA, like right there in like a 5-hour distance. It's just like, would it be good just to like I don't know work those 2 both, or like how long do you? Because I think Adam Dominguez, he'll just kind of do Vegas, Phoenix, LA, and just does that.
Yeah, a lot could change in the next 5 years. Basically, my plan as it stands right now is to work this new job that I kind of recently. I
work at a prison, right? Or
yeah, jails technically, but whatever, you know. The women's jail mainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
They eyeball you?
Yeah, a lot. They're cool as hell. And they're those ladies are awesome. For the most part, they're really sweet. They say really cool things to you. And just work my job for a while, save up as much money as I can. I have 2 dogs that are a little nuts, but they're older. And they're just nuts in the sense that they like bark a lot when I leave. They howl if they're left alone. They're like, oh, 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 oh. Just they'll do it for 20 minutes. Yeah. And like, so living in an apartment with them is not really an option. Yeah. So my plan is to kind of just save up money until my dogs die. Yeah. And then see how much money I have and see like where I could go and what I could do once I'm a little free from that.
Yeah, you should. Well, I guess it's always. I was talking to Samantha Lackner, and I
Uh-huh.
told her I was like going to Europe in November. She's like,
Cool.
You should. Because she's doing like she said the comedy scene out there is like the Wild West in the like over there.
Huh.
It's just kind of like this. She said there is no open mics. Basically, everything's a show.
Yeah.
Because, like it's.
But you can just get on them though.
Yeah,
like,
you can just get on. But
like,
like
I've heard that about Europe because like it's just less competitive. There's less comics. So like it's easier for them to just be like, yeah, just come. Like whereas here we kind of have to have open mics and shows because shows are hard to get on. So there has to be mics, you know.
Yeah, I think that's also one place I thought of moving, just somewhere.
Europe?
In Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a big thing is also it's also
That'd be
weird.
cool. I've heard Barcelona has a pretty strong
Oh, really?
comedy scene.
Okay, because I love Spain, honestly. It's
Yeah.
just,
I'm trying to go to Barcelona.
have you ever listened to stand up in Spanish?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, there's
I'm not. I can speak Spanish pretty well. I'm horrible at fucking understanding it.
really,
dude.
that's like everyone does like the reverse.
No, I mean, really, it's hard, dude. Well, like, I can understand when like an American says something in Spanish to me, but as soon as like, because I've been, I went to been to Ecuador twice, Colombia once, and Argentina once.
Colombia, though, right?
Colombia was so fucking sick, dude.
Did you go to
Col-
Medellin?
Yeah,
Okay, that's like my favorite.
because I
place
was in
the
love with a
world.
girl, so I went there to see her.
Did you meet another girl when you were there? It's like actually
Her sister.
And you're like,
Her sister, dude. It was so bad because didn't tell me she had a boyfriend. The first woman I had a crush on didn't tell me she had a boyfriend. And I was just like in love with her and it's just like, I'm coming to see you. And she was like, okay. And just like, I was like, it's weird you wouldn't mention that, but like, whatever. And then like she like sent me out dancing with her sister. Like we went out drinking and dancing. Her sister was so beautiful and like younger and really cool in general.
yeah, it's just nice the vibe over there. Like in
Yeah,
Medellin.
it's so cool, dude.
I think did you go to like the main El Poblado? Do you remember? It's just kind of like the downtown center.
Probably, yeah. I
Yeah.
kind of went all over.
Yeah.
We went to Comuna Trece
Yeah.
for a bike race that was super sick. They had like just like bikes flying through those like neighborhoods.
How'd you dress? Did you dress like this when you were there?
Uh,
Because I dressed like this when I was there.
I mean,
yeah, basically.
yeah, I tried to be like pretty subtle. They know you're American so
It's not
fast.
that,
It doesn't really matter.
But
But
it's
like,
just people flex so much on these third world countries.
oh,
just like-
dude. Yeah. No, I don't like. Even shit you don't like expect is kind of a flex. Like my shoes were a little too nice, and they weren't even like.
No.
They were just white, basically.
Yeah. No, they're small things. I think when yeah, I don't know. Different.
Yeah.
I don't know. My friend, he started over in New Mexico City and then is all the way in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And I kind of just like want to do that. Like that's what a lot of people do for like their trips. They start in Mexico, go all the way down to like Chile.
Yeah,
I don't know.
be cool as hell.
That's what
There wasn't a lot of comedy in South America.
no.
That was my experience.
No, I think it's definitely.
I was walking in Argentina one time and I saw in English a sign that said open mic. I was like, what the
Shut
fuck?
the fucker, really?
But like I just forgot to go back and never really figured it out.
I feel like doing stand up when I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it's kind of like working out. Like I don't work out on vacation.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm on vacation.
It depends
Yeah.
where I am and what I'm doing for sure. There's times I like to take trips specifically just to do comedy. There's a club, two clubs actually, in Tacoma, Washington, Tacoma Comedy Club. They have 2 locations. And how they run their open mic is they have signups the month beforehand.
It's like sounds like stir crazy or something like
Yeah,
that.
kind of. Yeah, it's like a month beforehand, you go on there, they have a little flyer and you let them know which dates you're available. And then on the first of the month, they send out a list of all the open mics for the month and you see which dates you got.
Is it like a high value open mic, you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good, dude. It's like pretty much like Stir Crazy where like, I mean, it can be, there's nights where it's like kind of more, Stir Crazy can be like that though. Like,
I don't know.
Stir Crazy's great, but it's not sold out every week. It's just sold out most week, you know?
I feel like if it's not sold out, because I think before the show, Lamar was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like a light crowd."
Yeah.
Every time I've been there, like the past few years, like 2-3 years. Like it's just been either it doesn't like everyone comes late or it's just popping from the get-go.
Yeah, basically always. But my point is, even rarely there's a night where it's like 40 people and you're kind of like, what the fuck? But even that, like 40 people's insane when you think about it. Like for an open mic.
Yeah, I mean, even I think,
and almost always it's more than that.
I was at what's the Scottsdale one, Barstool. I went there for the first time.
Yeah.
And, shoot, even like there was just a group of like 3 people to the side of me because it's just like I'm not gonna talk to someone like that's all the way in the back of the room, but I was just like I don't know. 3 people was fine enough. I was like, just give me someone's attention.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes it's like that with a mic. I mean, sometimes 3 people that are listening is better than 50 that aren't. You know, I was at a show the other night at Sage and Sand. You been there?
That sounds familiar.
It's close to here, kind of. It's this bar right across from a military base, and they had a show on the same night that they had their fucking pool league, and like, dude, we did this shit, and just nobody wanted it to be happening, dude. It was so bad.
That kind of reminds me of Cheers.
Yeah,
have you gone to that?
I
one?
just went the other night for the first time, and I was kind of like, why am I here?
Yeah, last night.
No, last week.
Okay, because I haven't been there, but
it wasn't.
Dude, to be honest, I'm just like I get annoyed because I was like, what happened to just doing fucking stand up? Like, why does everything have to be like a gimmick? I was just like,
yeah, totally.
Like my friend was having a show, and then she said, yeah, and then we're gonna give the audience stuff so they can fuck with the comic, and I'm like, I mean, can't we just do stand up? Why do they gotta fuck with us?
Right, yeah. Always, I know, right? Let's put a fucking shock collar on them.
Especially because I think there's multiple feedback mics now, and like open mics, but it's just at the same time.
Yeah, I love getting feedback from people I've never seen do comedy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And they don't even pay attention during your set. And they're like, yeah, sorry, I spaced out during your set. And then like you've been doing comedy longer than they have.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. Dude, exactly. I did Cheers, and I did my set, and I was like saying bye to everybody, and Cole's like, "Where are you going, man? You might win." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna win." Like, all right, dude.
Do you still go to Backstreet Asia?
Not really.
I just remember the one time I went. I was like, because you were like, it was just me and you there, and then like as soon as you went up, I was gonna like talk to you afterwards, and then you just went from the stage directly to your car, and I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm notorious for leaving quickly after my set. It's just like hard here with like how long you have to wait before your set to be like, yeah, I should definitely be here longer now that I'm done.
Yeah.
But or like I don't know. Even like I go to Aguila's a lot. I have to get up early on Wednesdays. I have a good excuse on that one. Yeah, I leave a lot directly from the stage to my car at Backstreet when I was there. And then I can't make myself go anymore. It's just so often it's just me and like that exact situation, just me and one other comic performing for nobody. And it's like, how is this even still happening?
Not that it doesn't matter, but I feel like, do you have jokes that land like 98% of the time? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I have jokes I have confidence in. Yeah. I don't know if 98% is a good.
No, it's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I'd have jokes like my openers. Like, it always gets something.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yes,
but then I said that there, and like, I just got dead eyes. I'm just like,
well, right. You know, when people just want to eat dinner.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I think what was it? Maybe it was someone did crowd work, and then they just. It was weird because they just walked up to their table and they were the only people. It's just like, it's
kind of like all you can do. It's like, are you even listening? Like, can you hear me? Here, can you hear me? You just want to freak out like that when people are just staring at you. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't tell this story on a podcast, but fuck it, I don't care. Jesse told me the deal he gets at Backstreet is he gets 10% of all the sales that happen while the show's running.
No matter, not even if they're
there for the show or not. Which is great if he got like a bunch of people to show up and buy stuff. But what ends up happening is he's just incentivized to keep the show running as long as possible. Yeah, so one day I get there. I'm the only comic there, right? Jesse comes up to me and he's like, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go up and do half an hour. Then you go up and do as much time as you want. Then I'm going to go on again after you. And I was like, okay, buddy, sounds good. He goes up, does half an hour. I go up and do a half. There's 5 people there that were there for dinner and not comedy.
Yeah.
He does half an hour. I do half an hour. I do my deal and go straight to my car from the stage and leave. He texts me 40 minutes later. He's like, I just did 40 minutes after you left.
I can't even imagine. It's like 40 minutes.
Yes, dude, they got an hour and 10 minutes of Jesse, dude. Not expecting it. Not knowing there was even going to be comedy happening while they ate their wings.
The thing is, I've never seen Jesse in real life.
Really?
No, I just...
You should. He wasn't there that night, huh? Who was hosting?
Sandra
Cole
was hosting.
Oh, Sandra.
I think with Jesse, it was funny because I forgot there was like this. It was on the Facebook groups, and there was like, "Hey, there's going to be a time change to the open mic," and then Jesse commented. But the thing is, I've never seen Jesse at an open mic.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
And he gets like every time someone would post something, he'd ask questions about it. But then this guy was like, why the fuck is he asking questions? He's not coming.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know. It's just so funny how heated this person was.
It's because he likes being on Facebook.
No, yeah.
You know, who doesn't? Facebook's great, Jeff.
I don't know.
No, I'm.
Yeah. No, the thing is, I don't like oversharing on Facebook. I do feel like
Oh, I hate when people do.
there is a type of comic that joins comedy, it seems, just so they could have people support them on Facebook, it seems.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
God, yeah.
Like
dude.
everything is like kind of like a jerking off moment where it's just kind of like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. They just,
I did good at the open mic tonight. So who gives a shit,
Yeah,
dude?
just
Don't
like-
you don't need to post that.
it's, yeah. So
God, yeah. Oops,
Self-blazing.
I bombed. That's all right. Got to get back out there tomorrow. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Just everything. And then they don't even do comedy. And then they just found a group
There's
of
a
people.
lot of people, dude. It's such a problem here in Phoenix, for real, dude. Like, because it's hard to do comedy here. They're like, there's a lot of people at the open mics. It's a lot of waiting. It's a lot of driving really far. It's a lot of being really hot and uncomfortable. And like at a certain point, you kind of just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna stay home and say I do comedy. And they're like, that happens to a lot of people here.
No, yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, it's impressive to say, dude. I went on when I started dating again, and I was like a comic. That was like, yeah, I do stand-up comedy. People are just so impressed. I'm just like,
I know, because like that fear, it's so funny because it's like, it's such a fucking funny little trick that we pulled off. We just got over our fear one time, right? Just that first time you get on stage, it's really, really scary. And I mean, for a little bit after that, but like, all we did was figure out how to talk on stage. It's not like anybody could do it if they really wanted to.
no, yeah.
It's not like as special.
And people always, I wouldn't know what to say. It's just like, just write some. I mean, it's just like anything though. Like, as long as you kind of have an idea what you want to say, like,
Yeah.
it should just be fun. You know what I did notice is that, you know, like, have you noticed when people, like, I'm not sure how old you are, like 33?
33.
Yeah. Oh, nice. When people like are in their like late 30s, like just grown men that I realize they just talk for like 5-minute monologues at a time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever got trapped in a conversation with just like an older guy,
Uh-huh.
but then like they do that at open mic and they just talk for like 6 minutes without a purpose and their story has no climax.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird transition that doesn't translate for a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people do comedy for like the wrong reasons or kind of like just like not that good at like figuring out what works. And it's so annoying.
I do think that going to open mic with a buddy has really expedited the writing process.
Yeah,
Because
it's fun. You got to have somebody to riff with. Dude, honestly, just having somebody that you like around so that you're not like miserable while you're there is huge. And like there's a camaraderie around being amongst comics, but it's not like the same as being with somebody you like genuinely love or like. You know what I mean? Like that's important.
Yeah, I was talking with Mikkel about getting like comics to do something else, and it's just like to get a group of comics to do anything, to meet up for anything outside of stand-up comedy is impossible. Like
It's tough, especially here, dude. Like it's like what? Somebody's gonna have to drive an hour to be there.
Yeah, I
You know?
get invited to play basketball every Sunday. It's like, dude, I
Where?
don't want to. Tempe and Rio Salado.
Oh, okay, that'd be fun. Who, Fred and them?
Do you know like Brad? It's like I don't know. It's like Mic Drop, David Pena, Brad, Zach. Sure. We are on a basketball team that was actually just full of comics. Like Reese was on it, but they always say like, let's go hoop at Rio Salado. But I'm like, bro, that's a 40-minute drive for me. It's just like I have a gym membership, so
yeah.
But no,
it sucks. But like that's the reality of Phoenix. It's spread out. Yeah,
I can't compare it to any other comedy scene. It is what it is to me.
The other scene I was in, Eugene, was super small. So there was 5 mics a week. So everybody would go to all the mics, but there was maybe 20 comics, and like most of the time, not all of them would show up. So even if you were the last person on the list, you'd be like 14. You'd be like, oh my God, this sucks. I have to go 14th tonight. God damn it.
Yeah.
And now like looking back, I'm like, oh, I was spoiled.
Yeah, I feel like that was my transition. I remember I got to El Charles and I was like, I was so tired of just having, I was kind of like, I was just doing comedy and I really didn't understand like the hang part of like enjoying. Right. And I think it was like just burning myself out. And I got to El Charles and I was like, 12th, man, fuck this. I'm leaving. Because I showed up right like as early as I could. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go home today.
That's so funny. 12th is like it's like the best spot, you know. So it's a great spot.
Yeah. And Cam was like, what's wrong with 12th? I was like, I don't want to talk about it, man. I'm just
hey, I'm just being a pussy. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Some nights you don't have it in you, though, dude. You know what's funny is back in Eugene, I was the most like grind mode person around. Like I was like, I'm going to all the mics because I didn't even have a job. I just fucking basically like sat around and like didn't do much, and then like went and did open mics. And I was recovering from meth, so maybe that was important. Wow. And I was doing like for a while I was in school, and then I guess I wasn't technically unemployed that long if you consider me being full-time in school.
Okay, no, that's a good excuse.
Yeah, for sure. And I got my degree, which got me my current job, so it all worked out.
Oh, you need to. What is your? You work in the jails, but like, what do you do?
I teach people who have been found incompetent, which basically just means they don't know how court works. It's my job to try and teach them how court works, and then also document signs of mental illness that I see, so that if it turns out they can't learn it, I have something to testify about. Because if they're found incompetent and ruled like that they're not going to be able to be found competent, like they're permanently incompetent, then they have to go on court-ordered treatment.
Is it pretty? I was talking to a therapist or psychologist about it, but like kind of the quick label of like labeling kids like ADHD and just giving them Ritalin, but it's also like the low attention spans, but also everything is heavily dosed in sugar. So it is like, is this child really have like super ADD, or did you just give them a pack of Skittles,
right,
and then a honey bun, and now like they're crazy?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Like when you do your job, it's kind of like it's very hard to like. They're not as like laissez-faire as like, oh, mental disability or.
No, it's not that simple. And my job's basically just writing down what I see. So it's like if I ask a question and it takes them a long time to respond, it's like, okay, delayed responses. But I don't make any judgment about that. It's like I don't know what that means for them. Just that I see that, you know. I'm not sitting there writing like, they seem like they're bipolar. It's like I have no idea, you know.
When you came here, you said you were like the hardest worker in Oregon. Was it like a switch up because you weren't used to having the opportunity to do like, say, because I think we could do like 13 mics a week here.
Yeah, not that so much as just I had to learn, like, in where I was at in Oregon, the furthest open mic from me in town was 10 minutes away. It's the furthest I would have to drive. Like, so getting used to the idea that, like, the closest open mic here is 20 minutes away. Most of them are going to be a 30-minute drive or so.
Yeah, this is pretty
yeah, exactly. I live close to here, about 10 minutes west of here. So, exactly. And so, like, a lot of drives are 45 minutes. It takes me 45 minutes to get up to House of Comedy. It takes me an hour to get to the clubs in Gilbert and Mesa, or in Chandler.
I switched from I got T-Bone. My Prius got T-Bone. And then, like, I switched to, like, a RAV4. And I literally took, a big break in comedy just because I couldn't afford gas.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And, like, so I had to learn here to pick my spots more, Like now I know like on Tuesday I can go out to Bullshooters and Aguila's on my way home, and it's pretty easy to get 2 mics in about 3 hours or so, maybe 4 hours, and a lot of that's like hanging time. So that's like a really good night, and then like you have to just like it's okay to take a night off. Like I didn't have that mindset in Oregon because it was so easy to go out. It's like a lot of nights in Oregon, even if I didn't feel like going and doing comedy that night, like per se, or like feel like being out for a long time, I would leave my house at 7, get to the mic at 7:15, sign up first, go up at 7:30 when the mic starts, and be home by 8, or be home by, like, I could get a mic in less than an hour if I wanted to.
Yeah, I think with here, I'm kind of now accustomed to a point, because I think there was like during like back when it was like Improv Mania, like I showed up, I was like, oh, I used to show up to mics on time.
Yeah. But then
like I'd show up on time and I was still like 30th, and then it's just like, oh, if I want to be here, I just can't be on time. I have to show up at 5,
an hour early.
So I have to drive at 4:15 to show up 2
through
hours
traffic.
Early, to Chandler, 48 minutes. And I'm just like, I'd rather, now I'm kind of at a point where I'll show up once in a while on time to a mic, but most times I was like, I'm okay with going on the back end and then rushing over to like Wayward or
in Denver, how they do their mics there is you show up and you sign up on a list, but the host decides who goes next, and fuck you if you don't like it. It's their mic. They're gonna pick who they want, and that's how it works. And it's very interesting.
I notice. Do you have a show? Are you a show producer?
Kind of. I don't know. Not right now.
Okay. No. I notice like contemporaries when they start producing a show, like their ego just gets way fucking out of hand.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like they're like killing babies. But
not me. My shows are always horrible.
The 44 Grill.
Oh my god, dude, mine were so bad, dude.
But I remember I was at Bullshooters, and then this guy, like, he was just flexing about his show. I was like, oh shoot, like I was like. It's so crazy, you know, booking shows and stuff, and having to look at all this tape. He's like, I'm gonna see if Derek can like bump me up a few spots. I was like, bro, there's 7 comics left. Just wait. It's not any better than what it's gonna be. Like 10 minutes from now.
For sure. No, yeah, it goes to people's heads, dude. And for sure, probably running mics like this a little bit too would too. But like the effect that it has running a mic like that, where you just like pick who's next. There's some things that could happen. One, if there's like actually an audience, you can just pick the next best comic and keep the show going as strong as possible for as long as possible. It also gives like the host some freedom to like somebody who's more established in the scene, somebody like Lamar or Mike B. Dapper could come out and know they could get a decent spot even if they showed up late, which is good because like people like that would come out more if they knew they weren't gonna take a shitty spot.
No, yeah, I like to do the room retention at Barstool. It was like since it's like a newer mic, the owner was like, there's probably like 5 or 7 comics left, and the owner's like, let's do an intermission. Yeah, and then did a 10-minute, 15-minute intermission, and then during that intermission, the whole crowd left the fucking room. Yeah, and I was just like, shoot. Yeah. But no, yeah, that's a weird format.
It's interesting, yeah. Somebody just like floated doing an intermission at our mic on Mondays that I've been running.
What mics are you running on Mondays?
It's at Tap 2.
Yeah,
She's come through sometime, dude. It's fun. It's a good time. You said you live kind of west side?
Yeah, I live north Phoenix. Well, it's probably like just like a 25. Everything's a 25-minute drive.
Everything. Yeah. If you live North Phoenix,
yeah,
you're close to Bullshooters then, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should come out there more. That's fun.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Actually, you were just there, huh?
Bullshooters.
Where'd I see you with Ben? Wayward.
Yeah, I think that's the last mic I went because he quit comedy for like 5 days.
God, Ben, he's always doing that.
Yeah, he's my comedy partner. I think it's funny because he was like, I told my girlfriend, I was like, yeah, Ben broke up with me. So honestly, it kind of like it made me a little sad to.
Oh, dude, it's tough. Like when like the person you've been like enjoying spending time with like stops. Yeah. One of my best friends. Oh, this is a kind of wild shit to get into. One of my best friend from Eugene fucked another comic's wife. And
yeah,
doesn't really do comedy anymore. As you might imagine would happen if you did that.
There was like, even until like a lesser extent, I used to hook up with a girl, and then she started hooking up with another comic that went to a lot of open mics. I was like, I don't really want to go to his open mics anymore. I don't want to see his girl.
Right, exactly. So like basically that to an extreme is, and he was my. I was talking about him like he's dead. He was my best friend. It made me very happy doing comedy with him, and we would go to a lot of places together, and we're always hanging out. And now he doesn't really do comedy, and it just sucks.
Well, it's just even like small things that. Because that's why I said earlier, it expedites the writing process so much because, like, he'll notice, like, yeah, you said like or and it's just like, oh, you're adding really small movements. I like how you get active for this bit or something like that. Or I'll be able to notice, like, I told Ben, I was like, your sets, like, I feel like crowd work is your best opener. Be able to kind of get that from up here. And
well, always, every room, and especially rooms that are heavy with comics, wants you to be able to show that you're in the moment with them. So if you can do some sort of riff, crowd work type thing that proves that you can be like, you're like, here, I'm in this room with you. I'm not just reciting words I thought of earlier now that I have memorized in my head. Like,
I think that's a big part.
It's part of comedy.
Yeah, in my notebook before my set, I put sound conversational, not rehearsed.
Yes.
But I do think bombing at bullshitters helped a lot with that because usually I go
bombing anywhere.
Yeah, but the only reason because I like there's 6 or 7 comics. I don't do my set just because I'm just like, why the fuck do I want to do like? I think I heard you say I get the term from you, club set. Like I was like, why do I want to do my club set here? This is stupid. So right, the past 3 times I just didn't do any material. Still, it's a horrible. I'm not saying that was good. It's like horrible. But I feel like that's helped just small crowd work moments like at House of Comedy where a guy was like, he's like 600 gallons. He just said, I was like, dude, is that how much Mountain Dew you drink in a day? And I was like,
yeah, it helps you think a little faster on your toes and not be just so freaked out when you have to say something you haven't said before, which is a hard part of comedy. It's a hard skill to learn. We all start, or at least I did to an extreme with, I write down these things I think are funny, I memorize them, and then I come out and say them basically how I memorized them. And just as you get better at comedy and watch people who are really good at comedy, you realize one of the like biggest skills is being able to like just be a little bit more in the moment and recognize that like how to put it, like sometimes you can like switch the orders of certain jokes. Sometimes a riff or a one line in the just to show that you're in the moment and recognize that you saw what the crowd saw. All that stuff goes a long ways in like winning a crowd over.
Yeah, it's crazy how much that's developed because I remember when I tried to do crowd work at first, like if I did it like I'll put a spot for it in my set. I don't like go reach out for it, but I'll kind of have open-ended questions, kind of like, has anyone here ever been to Alaska? No? Oh, that sounds about right. Yeah. Like just something like there. If someone responds, I'll be like, oh, whatever. But I do think before when I tried it, like I would just forget the rest of my set as soon as I started a conversation with the crowd because I needed the beats so bad.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just... it's part of getting better at comedy is just not needing to rely on your memorized stuff. And part of it's just doing the jokes so much that like they're so memorized that you can go away from them and then come back to them, right? Like it's not like I've completely cut out written material. And not far from that, you know?
Oh, no, yeah, I for sure have I just need to be less detailed now. Like, instead of going from, like, sentences, I could just say one words.
Yeah.
Like I have a joke about, like, Whataburger, just, like, Whataburger Highway, that's all I put. There was someone when I started, like, Rob Maybe, he said, it's like, even if he forgets his set, he's written so many jokes at the time, he has, like, it's kind of like just having, like, emergency sets in his head.
I love watching Rob work. It's one of my favorite comics in the scene, for real.
I feel like the last 5 times I've seen him, he's been on stage like, I'm way too drunk to be up here.
Well, it's comedy, man. It's the only art form you can do drunk.
Are you sober since like you're drunk?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never been one to go up on stage high or drunk.
Yeah.
I think the most I've had is a beer, but like once I get high, I get butterflies before every set, but if I'm high, I'm
so
just like,
scared, just a panic attack, huh?
I smoked before I went up at Wayward because Sarah was like, we're cutting off the list, and then as soon as I smoked and I got high, she was like, hey Jeff, did you actually want to go on? And then like I did 3.5 minutes, but I swear I was like, that felt like 7.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I was in Denver and it felt like everybody was smoking weed before their set.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people are shocked when you go up there dry and they're like, what?
Yeah. Oh my God.
You raw dog your set, dude?
Raw dog is like the funniest term for being sober. It's like, I don't know if that's a good compare. Like, it's so funny, but
Yeah, maybe it's nicer to have that relaxation when you're doing like 15 minutes.
yeah.
But I feel like right now I'm just in a spot where like a lot of the spots I get, they're 5 to 7 minute guest spots. And it's like, I feel like I'd rather try to be like super compact during that time.
Yeah, definitely. When did you get into like doing video stuff?
Probably like 2 years.
Like as part of comedy, then kind of.
As part of comedy,
Because you started comedy before that.
yeah,
so.
I started comedy first, and then I didn't want to pay Josh Boyles for headshots. So, like, it wasn't like that. It's just me being like super cheap, and I was like, I don't want to pay you for pictures.
Yeah.
This is all new to like the whole world of headshots.
Is he good at headshots? I got mine from Jennifer Girallo. Shout out. Get your headshots.
Don't go to me.
Oh God, sorry. Get them from Jeff. I mean,
they're clean. I mean, it's kind of like stuff you would only see as a photographer.
Yeah.
Like I noticed Jen has a certain style with like
She does, for
her
sure.
skin tones are more cooler, and then Josh just kind of just has a clean setup. But I mean, it's definitely like say me or another photographer would notice. But overall, it's just like get a photo.
yeah. It's funny when people don't have them. It's also funny when I don't know. I don't know how to make this determination. I love making fun of new comics that do everything way too fast, and they're on their first year comedy and they have headshots and all this, but it's like, I mean, you should have something. If you get booked, it's like you need a picture. Like,
Yeah, I'm lucky at the time where like Jacob Cano and then Ben, they like take pictures of me because I feel like for my first 2 years of comedy, nobody ever took a picture. It's like the photographer never gets their picture taken.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
But now, no, I just got a camera and I started taking like portraits with like a Canon M50.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to make like more money with it because it's just like, because when you go to,
Do you make a good amount of money?
I do it full time. That's like, I'm a full-time wedding photographer.
Nice.
So that's my thing. So I'll still do like random headshots. I think like tomorrow, I was just like, I don't know, like Cricket and Santiago hit me up and they're just like, hey, can we get just quick black drop headshots? Like, cool, we can knock that out in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I'll just do quick mini sessions. It's just a nice change on the side.
Nice, yeah.
I think of it just beer money because it's just like, it's like when I go to House of Comedy.
Well, for sure, if it's not your main living, you know.
Yeah. But it's like when I go to like a show, because I think Sandra asked me to do video for her at the Spanish show. And I know Josh Boyles is always at Mic Drop. So I just said, hey, make sure Josh Boyles isn't there. Not that I don't want him there, but it doesn't make sense for us to both be there and not make money if we're both doing video.
Right.
So that's the same. I don't know. Like every time I go to House of Comedy, I check like, someone doing video here? All right. No, then I'll just offer it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bunch of people are doing it now.
That's a big, someone told me, I forgot who, but they were like saying, yeah, it seems like in California, the photographer comic is a big thing that arose.
Yeah. Pretty much everywhere. Because, like, comedy doesn't pay you any money. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like everybody who's doing comedy needs to figure out something else, dude. When I was doing my taxes last year, the woman who was like helping me at H&R Block was like, let me get this right. You want to expense $6,000 in equipment related to comedy, and you made $300 doing comedy this year. I was like, that's accurate. She's like, cool. Good job.
That's really how my first year of taxes was as a business owner now, because now I'm on like year 4 or 5. And it's just like, I mean, that's why I just like, I'm like, I think like my first year I hit like 20,000. I was like, all right, it's okay. It's so nice.
Do you get food when you do wedding?
Oh yeah, it's in my contract.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I put it in my contract. Like if I'm working more than 4 hours, like I get
one of the plates of food, please.
Yeah. I've been thinking wise of like how to make material on weddings, but at the same, because it's also kind of like, oh, it's a joke, but also it's like, oh, it's like low key marketing. It's like how comics have like bits about shirts and stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should get into doing ministry stuff where I like marry people. And then I could work all the same weddings as you. I'd even be in a lot of your photos, it turns out.
I've been like trying to find my Mormon community.
A friend of mine does that in Washington. This comic I know from Washington realized that like public speaking is basically public speaking, and like being good at comedy is not going to hurt your ability to like marry people. And became like an ordained minister, and now his side gig is marrying his friends.
I was talking with Kabari. We're talking about like motivation because he's like, yeah, I want to be like a motivational speaker or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just imagine bombing at a motivational speech.
No, there is no bombing, dude. You're not expecting anything.
No, but I'm saying like you're expected to get fired up, and it's just kind of like.
That's why I get jealous of musicians sometimes. It's like, as long as everybody kind of just sits there and doesn't like throw shit at you, you think you're doing well.
Yeah.
You know?
Just imagine like you take a motivational, if there's like open mics for motivational speakers.
Yeah.
And they're just telling the crowd, you are great. You
Yeah.
are a winner. Yeah.
I was kind of thinking I should write a motivational speech about like, you know, you too can overcome your meth addiction. Do you know you probably don't. There's a comic from Washington named Sam Miller. He's kind of blowing up, so people know him sometimes, even though he's kind of also still a regional comic. He does a lot of like sober community stuff, and like it's a big part of how he makes his living. Is like
Sober community.
Doing shows for basically like AA groups or NA groups or other sober. Like.
Yeah, I always thought of that because one of my my goals at Sonic Comedy is like, you ever been to Bosta Donuts?
Yeah.
I'd love to kind of just have like a cafe donut shop,
Yeah.
and then just kind of also prompt a stage in there, so it's like for performances and stuff.
Yeah.
But I always wondered, does like comedy like around a bunch of sober people? I wonder if that'd be like a rougher room or like tighter.
I think it could be fun for like if they're like if it's a show that's like Lamar and I were talking about doing a show for a while that was like sober specific. Stir Crazy doesn't want to let us do it there because they're like, well, we're gonna make any fucking money, dude. What the fuck's wrong with you? But like having a show where it's like we're specifically not serving alcohol here. Because he says he has friends that like don't go out because they know they're serving alcohol. So I don't know.
How's the because I know you guys, I've noticed with Stir Crazy the past few shows have been getting canceled just because no low ticket sales. The house shows that is I think when comics posting their story like show canceled and stuff, because you had a show that was canceled. How's that process, or was it pretty straightforward? Like you just don't got enough tickets?
Yeah, I mean Lamar was the one handling most of all that. I just kind of came up with the show idea. So I don't really know the inner workings. I know other people have had to cancel shows, and it's just kind of like if nobody's going to show up, they can't.
It makes sense. They can't risk the like just wasting that overhead of just labor costs. Does it make you think of like different ways to like market your shows?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely stresses me the fuck out. In general, don't know how to get people to show up to shit. I thought like for sure people were gonna want to watch that show where like the idea is we're making jokes up based on the problems that you give us. Like I thought people would love that. And just in general, I don't have a good idea of like when it's gonna be sold out and when nobody's gonna show up. And like I'm kind of trying to take a step back from producing. I think like it's probably a good idea for me to just run a mic. And create opportunities that way. The Valley seems hard, like a hard place to run independent shows.
That's what I noticed. I was talking to, but they were talking about like Mic Drop is booked for months out, and then House of Comedy, you gotta I don't know, be led into click. Mike Dapper just has to seem you worthy enough to have a show.
Sure.
And then Stir Crazy is just also booked up also. I'm not sure how that process is.
I don't think it's that difficult to get a date at Stir Crazy, to be honest. I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know. This is just like word of mouth.
Yeah. I just realized that I need to like take a step back from that kind of stuff. Like I don't really like producing. I always just kind of do it because I've recognized that like comedy is also about creating opportunities. No, like if all of us if nobody created any mics or shows and we all just took shows, there wouldn't be any, and we would all just struggle. We'd all just be like at each other's throats for the club spots even more than we already are, you know? So like the more that people commit to like new comics should be running open mics. Anybody that has like reach in the valley should be running shows if they can get people out, dude. If you like, part of the problem for me is I'm not from here. So it's like I post on social media and Facebook and shit and nobody from here sees it.
That is a big that's a big curve, especially even for any business wise. Like when I moved here and I'm not sure. Did you ever go to like JP's? Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, he was pretty hard on like bring 3 to 5 people,
right?
And, shit. And then I'm just like, I don't have
the big
friends.
3 wants you to bring 10. It's fucking,
and it's also because like it's like the same thing. Like wedding photography, starting that out here was a little bit harder because I don't have the same people I went to high school with to hire me or whatnot,
right?
And so it's just kind of, it felt like a pyramid scheme. That's what it felt like when I was trying to bring people to meetings or bring people to shows and shit like that.
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. And it just, it's hard to get people out if you can't really reach them. And it's hard to get people out in Phoenix for a comedy show when they've never heard of the comics before. It's really hard to be like, hey, we got 6 comics from Phoenix you've never heard of. Come watch them. Because, like, they have options. Dude, I've told this story before, but I was at a bar show that was empty. It was just me and the other comics, just there stressed out because there was nobody there to watch us.
I think I was there. I think I came and visited with my girl, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
The Throne?
No, different show, but probably that one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah. I was thinking of a different show, but that one had a similar vibe. We'll just put it that way. Okay. And I was like, out of curiosity, let's just see what our competition is tonight. Nate Bargatze was at the Footprint Center in the round. So that's like, what, I don't know, 20,000 tickets or whatever right there. Yeah. John Mulaney was at the 5,000-seat theater.
Orpheum?
Yeah.
John Mulaney and
no, it was, what's it? Financial Theater.
Oh, okay.
Hans Kim from Kill Tony was at the Desert Ridge Improv. Donnell Rawlings was at Tempe Improv. And somebody else you've heard of, like Sam Morel or somebody like that level, was at the Stand Up Live. And then there was people at Mic Drop, Stir Crazy, and JP's too. Like, it was like, how would anybody end up at this bar show? Like, how they couldn't possibly. If you were like, we're going to go see comedy tonight, there's no way you get, like.
Especially if somebody wanted to see comedy and they just looked it up in their area and they're like, well, why do you want to drive like 40 minutes and we could just go.
It just doesn't make sense trying to like run a show where like your draw is 5 comics that have been doing comedy 3 years in Phoenix. Like,
yeah, I never thought of doing like a weekend show. I always thought of doing like a prestige bar show on like a Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I like that Joy Lush.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been there?
Mm-hmm.
I love that bar.
Yeah.
Like I love the setup.
It's a perfect setup for comedy.
Yeah, I've been like eyeballing.
Brandy really found something with that.
Natural, good foot traffic every time. Like,
yeah.
I think a few times it was just crazy packed out, and that was my first time going there. And I was like, yeah, this kind of seems like it's just like.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It was like right under Stir Crazy.
Crazy, because like I was going for a while, and then it kind of felt like it fell off and was dead for a while. But like, it's like I was saying before, that can happen at any mic, including Stir Crazy. So that doesn't surprise me that you had like a different experience with it.
Yeah,
I should go. Actually, I run a mic on Mondays now. I'm not gonna make it back. Shout out to Brandy though.
Yeah, that's a cool place. I've been eyeballing bars just to kind of just try to like make our own production.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything you want to plug? Your wedding business?
Yeah, for the comics getting married.
Yeah, the comics getting married. That's fucking funny, Jeff. Yeah. That's like, you can write that down as a bit. Any comics getting married? Yeah, I know you're not. You know what's crazy? Oh, I probably, whatever. There's comics that have really attractive wives, and it surprises me. Do you know what I'm talking about? It doesn't matter.
No, I know someone close about it right away, but I was like, I don't know. I don't want to like say
it. It's all right. We don't need to say any names.
I do realize like for comedy, there's like the random. Did you notice everyone's either like kind of makes like minimum wage and does Uber Eats, or they have like a 6-figure job and doing comedy?
Oh my god!
It's just like one or the other. No one's like, I make $50,000 a year. It's just like,
yeah. Mainly, it feels like everybody's broke and has a coke problem to me.
Yeah, I feel like. I think I had like a weird saying, like coke is like sex offenders to me. Like sex offenders are everywhere, but I don't see it. But like everyone's doing coke. I've just never seen coke on this.
I'm not gonna name names, but I was supposed to go to a baseball game with a bunch of comedians, and the comedian that had the tickets overslept a 1 p.m. game. He texted us at like 3:30, like, my bad, guys. Sorry, I overslept. It's like, overslept? It's 4 in the afternoon. This baseball game's over. What are you talking about?
It's it's casual. It's weird seeing drugs so casual.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, do you want to do some blow in the bathroom? And I'm just like,
no, I don't. You're not nearly hot enough to convince me of that.
No, yeah, photos, sketch groups, stuff makers. Yup.
You got an Instagram or anything?
The Jeffrey Morel.
There you go, the Jeffrey Morel. Thanks, dude. This was really fun. It was actually really like a different conversation than what like I've typically had, which was good. I've been looking for like ways to switch it up, and I felt like we talked about a bunch of different stuff, so I was really happy.
No, I definitely feel like. Then again, like I just don't like talking about I don't like, not that you had a super interview format, but like I don't like talking about myself like that. I like just kind of keeping it casual.
Yep. Totally.
I read one book on how to win friends, influence people. Just don't like.
And now you're good at it, huh?
I just don't like talking. Dude, okay. Did you see hot take? Matt Rife's Lucid special, his crowd work special. If you look at his communication skills, they're like millionaire like that's how every super wealthy person like talks, and they like make people.
Okay. I'll say this. I don't love Matt Rife, but I don't like when people hate on him. He's been doing comedy since he was like 15. And like if you were that ugly, you'd get jaw surgery too. So like I don't know what to tell it. Like people are mad at him for a bunch of shit that doesn't really make sense to me.
I don't know.
It's like, it would be so easy to just ignore him.
Well, the thing is, I think that's only apparent to us because I remember I was talking to my girlfriend and then her coworker, and I was like, yeah, people always giving Matt Rife shit and cancel. And he's like, they since they're not in our world, not that we're in a special world, but like, they're like, I didn't even know any of this.
Right.
So
yeah.
So it's just stuff because we're micro. But also, it's just kind of like, are we just hating on him because he's a hot comedian?
Of course.
Like, am I going to go through the same thing? You know?
Yeah, I mean, people like don't like when anybody's successful, and that's especially true if somebody's like good looking and got that way by spending money on their face.
Well, it's kind of like, it feels like Dane Cook vibes in 06.
Very much so to me. And like Dane Cook's kind of the same thing where it's like he was great. You know, people love to hate on him, but he was really good.
I do think
fucking crushed a lot.
And maybe his comedy style is dated because people like listen to it now and be like, why was this funny? But I do know I was cracking the fuck up as like a 10-year-old listening.
Yeah,
to
man, I should go back and listen. I remember it being good, dude.
Well, he said he riffed basically that whole special because he had like 30 minutes of material that he stretched out to an hour.
Interesting.
That's why he said when something popped, he would just keep on building on it.
Oh.
All right, I want to keep your time.
No, you're good.
Yeah.